Welcome back. We're walking through our coaching field manual. If you haven't already, go back and watch the first two videos, and they help you to pick out the avatar of the coach that you want, and then some of the expectations for what types of programs you can have for how those coaches operate. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the responsibilities of both the students and the coach. And then we're going to get into a little bit of the traits of a bad coach to try to give you some things to watch out for. If you don't have the manual already, go to 9to5ers.com. You can download it there. And thank you for subscribing for those of you who have. If you haven't, click subscribe so you can have the tools and resources you need to reach the goals that you're after in life. So when it comes to these student and coach responsibilities, it's important to know where those expectations are from each, and that's where those responsibilities really come from. There's a role that a student plays and a role that a coach plays, and that kind of helps define the boundaries that really make for a good relationship and a good coaching experience. And it'll really help you get the most out of your coaching experience as well. So let's start off by looking at the student responsibilities. Number one, you must be honest and transparent. If you hold anything back, it's just going to make it that much harder to really get your issue solved. Get your facts and your data out there that are really going to help the issue get solved. And if there's faults and hard truths and things like that in there, then that's going to come out and you'll be much better for having done so. Be coachable. That's number two. Be coachable. That's very big because a lot of people, they try to hold back. They just don't really want to take the advice of the coach and different things like that. The more you can be coachable, the better you're going to do. So take that information that coach is giving you and apply it. Don't just lock it away in that memory bank. Apply it. Go out and do it. And then you don't really have to fully understand the why. A lot of times the coach is looking at something that you may not be able to fully see yet. Take sports, for example. Tiger Woods, maybe his golf swing coach is seeing something wrong in his backstroke, and he's saying, no, you got to turn your body this way. Well, Tiger's like, well, I don't really know why, but then he swings and he just crushes the golf ball. And that's the kind of thing that your coach may be doing as well. You kind of just have to go through it and do it and see what that result comes out to be on the other side.
Next is accountability and taking action and moving forward with what you discussed in the previous meeting. Show up with the results of the experiment, not the excuses. I mean, it drives me bonkers with if I'm working with a student and I'm like, hey, how did that happen? How did that experiment go? And they're just like, I didn't get to it. It's just like, I'd rather have a failure, quote unquote, than someone that just didn't get around to it, because at least we can move forward in one direction or another. And prepare for the meetings and make them productive. Don't spend the first 15 minutes of the meeting trying to figure out like what we should be talking about. Come there with some objectives. What happened from the experiment that you were running? What you thought, what you felt was a success. Was it a failure? Did you learn something from it? And it's the student's responsibility to show up to events and phone calls. The coach it's not their job to chase the person down and say, hey, you have, like, just letting you know, the coach is not your parent. You are the coach. We're the coach here. And when it comes to payments, this is a no-brainer. It's super simple. It's just, when there's money involved or some sort of financial obligation involved, just make that payment on time, set up an automatic payment from your checking account or whatever it is. And we are, as the coach, not here to be the bill collector.
Yeah, I just want to make another note on that real quick. It's that payment isn't for the coach. I mean, if a coach is worth their salt, they don't need that payment from you. That payment is for you. Your payment is that commitment. That payment is saying, I am committed to going out and doing what it is that I need to do. I'm in this for the long haul. I'm in this to make this work. If you're skipping out on that, you're skipping out on your own life, your own success. So it's just very important there. But that does lead into the responsibilities of the coach, because they are getting that commitment from you. So what is it that coach needs to do? Well, first, he needs to pay attention to the needs of the student. The student's needs come first, and the coach is there to help that student out to reach their goals. The coach isn't out after their own goals when it comes to that coaching relationship. The coaches are people, they still have their own goals, their own things that they're trying to work on. But in the coaching situation, in that coaching relationship, the student's needs come first, and the coach needs to put those needs before their own goals that they're trying to achieve. They also need to make sure that they're delivering the value on this contract that you have with the coach. So if you have something saying that, hey, I'm going to go and do real estate investing, then make sure that that coach is giving you that help towards real estate investing that you actually need.
It's smart for the coach to also set the boundaries for the student. And what that means is it okay if I call you at 2 a.m. with a question? Probably not. There's a reason why there's different mediums on how we interact with our students, with the mastermind or with the one-on-one day or with the insiders calls, because every type of question or situation is going to dictate what medium that we should be using for it. And each one of them has their own pros and cons for it. And the boundaries situation is so that the coach not only has their own life, but also your coach has a coach, and they need to focus on becoming a better coach and growing so that they can continue to give you value. If you're calling the coach up, every day or sending them emails left and right, they don't have the time to focus on what they need to focus on and grow. And as a coach, and I've run into this a couple of times, is we need to know when to refer out to something that is larger than what we can handle. And a good example of this would be someone that is dealing with maybe suicidal tendencies or maybe some actual mental issues. We're not talking about just I've had a crummy week and I'm going through the blues, or man, 3 or 4 things have happened and I feel down about it. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about with someone with an actual chemical imbalance or some behavioral issues, and they need to talk to an actual trained licensed psychiatrist or counselor, and that needs to be understood and addressed quickly, because coaches are not superheroes. They cannot do everything. But on the other side of that coin, while they're getting treatment for maybe, let's say, a person is going through an alcoholism, they need to have a support group, like a 12-step support group. They need to have their doctor involved. But also, a coach might know another coach that has had issues with alcohol. And sometimes I can't relate to that person on a level that needs to be related to. And I might reach out to another coach that I know has had an alcohol problem. And I'd be like, listen, I need you to come in. I need you to talk to this person in my stead at a level of someone that can relate to having an alcohol problem. And that is something where you refer out to someone that is also a coach, that is not that's not a doctor or anything like that, but they can relate to that person and talk to that person and tell each other very, very super private things that only those two people would get. So knowing when to refer out is something that is tough for a coach, maybe the first time they go through it, but after a while they see the signs of something that is bigger and is something that is also bigger than them, but it's also urgent. It's important to know when to refer out. So Reese, not all coaches are perfect. Not all coaches are great like you. Why don't you give us a couple of traits of some bad coaches? Because there might be 1 or 2 out there.
Right. So when Joe was typing this manual up, he's just said basically, what's Reese do? And he wrote down this traits of a bad coach section. No. So the responsibilities are important, but there's a line that can be crossed there where that just kind of is too far. That's traits of a bad coach. So we've put some flags up here for things they're red flags, things to watch out for. So number 1 is they want to see more of your personal information than what is necessary for coaching you. So For example, if you are needing help being coached through your finances, they're going to need to see your numbers. You can't really be helped out really without those numbers. However, if they start to want to see your bank account or your social security number, stuff like that, that's too far. That's beyond the level of what is needed to actually help you be coached through that situation. Number two, a coach is trying to get you to invest blindly because they've gained your trust. If they say, buy this deal, it's a good one, and you kind of ask some questions and they just blow you off or something like that, or they just say, just do it, we'll make it work out or whatever. Like, that's not helping you. You have some legitimate questions that need to be worked through, and they're just trying to push through what may be a sketchy deal from a sketchy coach that has made it through to this point. And they're just trying to bank on that trust to be selfish in that situation. Number three, if they're being abusive or aggressive towards a student, then that's just not good for anybody, not only for that student, but other students see it. It just takes that whole energy out of that coaching situation and may send you backwards away from the goals and what it was that you entered into that agreement to begin with. So what I mean by that, because I want to be clear here, there are absolutely situations, and especially some people who are a little harder headed than others, that need to see moments of tough love. And it needs to come from the heart. Like, one of our coaches is probably one of the best at tough love. And he sets it up great. You always know it's coming. But there's that line, again, that can be crossed when that coach is belittling you. I'm not saying that's what our coach does. I'm saying that if a coach is belittling you or just really making you out to be like some kind of bad person, or just not treating you like with the respect that you need as a person, that is not good behavior to be coming from a coach. That is different than tough love of someone saying, hey, it's time to put some boots on and let's go get stuff done. Like that could be some tough love. But if they're saying you don't know how to put on boots and stuff like that, then okay, yeah, that's maybe not so good.
They give advice or guidance based on the coach's goals or motives, and not the students. Whenever you start to feel that your trajectory is starting to veer off to the left or right, and you're going to what is going to feed the coach, it's a little bit hard to be specific in this situation because it does sound a lot like number two. But anytime that your coach is giving you advice that seems to be taking you away from your preferred life, that's when you maybe step back and question yourself. Like, is this the coach that I really need to have in my life? Or is this person trying to line their pockets with my hard work or my money or whatever? And the last one is pretty obvious. It should be pretty cut and dry. I've had this happen to me personally, and that means that it is that does not honor their side of the contract or does a bait and switch. And there's a key difference between a bait and switch and, hey, I think you need to take this to the next level, because there's different levels of coaching out there where you're at the Q&A. Let's say you're at the free Q&A, and the coach has answered your questions and you're getting it, but you're at this tipping point now where the type of coaching that you need or the type of focus that you need requires the coach to give up or to spend their valuable time on you, that at a free Q&A, it just isn't going to happen. And this is the time where you need to check yourself and go, okay, is this a bait and switch where this person is just trying to sell me more stuff? Or, yeah, I've gotten answered all the questions that I have that are at a very high level, and now I need to dig in and start really trying to move my life forward. And I would say that the big difference is that you're going to see is, did this person give value at the free Q&A level? Did progress happen? Did they answer all your questions? Did they meet you at the level that you're at right now? If that's a yes, and you can kind of tell that it's time to move on to the next level, then it's time to take a calculated risk and move on. But a bait and switch would be a situation where I was taking a coach out to lunch and I was getting advice from him and I was paying for his meal and he was helping me answer some basic questions about real estate. And then it turned into, I'm going to buy this person a meal, and then now they're going to try to sell me some of their junk properties. And it was just like, that's a bait and switch. So they are taking advantage of the situation, and they're just like, man, I got this great deal for you. And it's like, well, if it's so great, why are you getting rid of it? It's like, well, because it's junk, and they made a bad decision on it, and they're trying to pawn it off to somebody that they're, taking advantage of, which is number two that we've already talked about. So if your potential coach or your current coach exhibits these traits, it's probably time to pack up and walk away, because you've already lost some of your time. You're about to lose some of your money or all of your money. It's time to pack up and leave quickly. And these 5 things that I put down in this manual, I didn't pull them off the internet. I didn't ask Reese. I didn't ask my coach. I didn't poll people. These are all 5 things that happened to me. So these are all things that I ran an experiment and I found the issue and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is where I'm at. Let me add number 4 to the list here and then go on and find another coach. So you can run into a bad coach, but do not let that deter you from getting up off the ground and finding the next coach, because the next one might be the one that takes you from a 4 to a 10 in your life. Reese.
Absolutely. So big picture here of what it is that this whole manual is really about. Try to wrap this up. This is the conclusion. At the end of the day, there needs to be value given from both the student and the coach. The coach needs to be able to help move the student forward for what the student's goals are. And that needs to be able to be done faster than what the student is able to do on their own. Otherwise, what's the point of hiring the coach, right? So the student, in return, needs to be able to respect the coach's boundaries. The coach cannot be there at the student's every beck and call. But if the value that the student was seeking out is not really coming in, then it's probably not the good fit. It's probably not the right relationship that needs to be there in place. A quality coach will help you to get out of your own way, because that's the biggest holdup usually is ourselves, right? So a quality coach will help you get out of your own way and get on to what it is that you want to do, and do it in a way that moves you towards your vision, towards your preferred life faster than you can on your own.
Absolutely. And Reese, I would say that a good coach is worth what they are asking to pay for them. And some of these numbers can be high. I've seen expensive coaches, and I have a coach that requires a high level of a monthly payment. And there was a big upfront fee to get me mentally and financially invested in it. I say that, and I took that leap, and I was working 80-hour weeks when I made this plunge. I was working 80-hour weeks. I was working 2 jobs and trying to grow a real estate business. And my marriage was going in the wrong direction for this. My coach has helped me triple my net worth. I'm now working 25 hours a week, maybe 30, but that also includes my hour-and-a-half exercise routine that I do every single day. And my marriage is better than it's ever been. And that's through multiple masterminds, multiple coaching calls. We've just gotten better across the board. And I don't know where I would be without my coach. So it is imperative that I think everyone should have a coach. And whether it's a free Q&A just starting out, or you're paying them $2,000 a month or more, you need to have a coach in your life, because that's the difference between trying to bounce around in a dark room, trying to figure out where you are and where you want to go, versus getting on the interstate to your preferred life and just hitting the accelerator and getting there faster than anybody else thought you possibly could, including yourself.
So let me know in the comments right now, what is it that's holding you back from having a coach? That is the obstacle you're going to get over right now. So think of it that way. Say, I am going to go do this and this to get over the obstacle to get a coach.
Also, Reese, add in there, what would you need to see from a coach to get you to where you need to be? Do you need accountability? Do you need a mastermind group? Do you need monthly coaching calls? What is stopping you from getting to the next level to where you want to be at in your life? Let us know down in the comments.